The recent summit between President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Anchorage, Alaska, was marked by a grand display of military might and a hopeful slogan, "Pursuing Peace," prominently displayed. However, the outcome of this high-profile meeting left many questions unanswered, as it concluded rather abruptly without any clear agreements. After nearly 3 hours of discussions, both leaders emerged to announce that they had made progress. Yet they left a scheduled press conference without detailing the specifics of their achievements. One thing was clear: no formal agreement was reached. Trump's aspiration for a ceasefire was still a distant goal, as he increasingly shifted the responsibility onto Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to make a deal. During the press conference, Trump stated, "There were many points that we agreed on. Most of them, I would say. A couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway." He emphasized that a deal would only be finalized when all parties were in agreement, leaving the audience with a sense of uncertainty. The summit, despite its fanfare, highlighted the challenges Trump faces in navigating the complex geopolitical landscape. As the two presidents greeted each other on the tarmac of Elmendorf Air Force Base, alerts were issued in Ukraine regarding incoming Russian drones and aircraft, signaling Putin's ongoing military ambitions, even as Trump extended a gesture of respect on American soil. Key takeaways from the summit include the vague accounts provided by both leaders regarding their lengthy discussions. Trump described the meeting as extremely productive, mentioning that while a few points remained unresolved, they were not all significant. He hinted at a major issue that could be pivotal, but did not elaborate further. When asked about potential territorial concessions for Russia and security assurances for Ukraine, Trump indicated that these were topics of negotiation, but insisted that Ukraine must agree to any terms. His advice to Zelensky was straightforward: gotta make a deal. Leading up to the summit, it was apparent what an unsuccessful outcome might look like, as Trump had previously threatened to walk away if he was dissatisfied with Putin's responses. However, as he traveled to Alaska, he admitted uncertainty about what a successful outcome would entail, suggesting he would recognize it when he saw it. Unfortunately, the definition of success remained elusive even after the summit concluded. In a post-summit interview, Trump claimed that both Putin and Zelensky expressed a desire for him to be present at a potential second meeting, which he had previously stated was his ultimate goal. He mentioned that he would communicate with various individuals, including Zelensky, to provide updates on the discussions. However, during the joint appearance, the only follow-up meeting mentioned was a potential one with Putin, with the Russian leader suggesting next time in Moscow, which seemed to exclude Zelensky from future discussions. Upon returning to the U.S., Putin's demeanor as he looked out from Trump's limousine spoke volumes. After years of being sidelined, he was once again welcomed in the United States, the world's most powerful nation. It had been a decade since Putin last visited America, and following his invasion of Ukraine in 2022, he had been largely ostracized by Western leaders, facing threats of arrest from the International Criminal Court. The choice of Alaska for the summit was strategic, as the U.S. is not a member of the ICC. Putin's isolation came to an end the moment he landed in Anchorage, receiving a red carpet welcome, a flyover of fighter jets, and applause from Trump himself. This gesture signaled a clear message: Putin was being reintegrated into the diplomatic community. Their friendly greeting was celebrated on Russian state television as a historic handshake. While Putin may still face exclusion in many European nations, Trump's decision to host him significantly undermines efforts to diplomatically isolate the Russian leader. This was further underscored when Putin entered Trump's armored vehicle, a gesture that symbolized his return to the global diplomatic stage. Even without any substantial agreements, this meeting was a victory for Putin. An unexpected twist occurred just as Trump was landing. The format of the meeting changed from a one-on-one discussion with only translators to include 2 aides for each leader. This shift, which was not explained by U.S. officials, marked a departure from previous meetings where discussions were often shrouded in secrecy. The inclusion of Secretary of State Marco Rubio and U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff could provide greater clarity in the days to come, especially if Russia presents a narrative that differs from the U.S. perspective. However, one moment from the summit remains known only to Trump and Putin: their brief ride in the presidential limousine, where they were alone except for Secret Service agents. The details of their private conversation during that short journey will likely remain a mystery.